Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. This is your host, Jamie Clarkson. Let's find your major. Before we start today's episode, I want to let you know that basically all of our contact info from the last episode has changed. So if you want to email us at letsfindyourmajor@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter at findyourmajor. And I'll let you guys know again at the end of the episode and leave all this information in the bio. So, on today's episode, we are here with my friend Jayda. Through her education, Jayda has learned all about verbal communication, nonverbal communication, group communication, cultural communication, and who knows, maybe smoke signals too. But she blends it all together in an education that she can apply, well, just about anywhere. So, welcome, Jayda.
Thank you, Jamie.
Hi, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
So, let's start with the most basic question. What's your major?
I am communication studies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going for a psych minor right now, and then possibly a marketing minor. So
Oh, wow.
We'll see what happens.
You're hitting all of the marks.
Yep, trying to hit it all.
So basically the way that I structure this podcast for you and for our listeners is through the interview, I'm going to start with kind of more end game career-based questions, because a lot of people, when they're looking for what major they want to decide, they kind of want to see, what job can I get with this? That's the most realistic question. So, we're going to talk about that first, and then we'll move into what your coursework looks like as a communication major, different extracurriculars, classes, things like that. And then at the end, we'll talk about any admissions tips and tricks. So starting out, what are some of the careers that people can get with a communication studies major?
So basically, when you do like a Google search kind of thing, I know if no one knows, the CLDC, the Career Leadership Development Center, they have a ton of like just this basic foundation, like first start resources to finding how your major connects to like a career, possible career. And they have a website on their website. They have a link on their website that goes to, I forget what it's called. It's like Find My Major, like Find My Career, something like that. And you can basically just go like communication studies or whatever major you're looking for, and they'll come up with just like a different types of them. So you can do like, typically anything managing or like people related. So like HR, you can go like work yourself up into like administrative positions. You can go, obviously pretty much with anything. You can go to grad school, become a professor, do research with it. There are actually a lot of cool research going on in the comms department at OU, and you can get involved with that if you want to go into research. I think it's really fun. It's definitely a very niche kind of job that you would have, but I really enjoy it. You can go into marketing, so like you can get like the marketing minor. You can go into business if you want to do like a business minor. Just different things like that. A lot of it's definitely like managing people for sure. I actually right now am looking at maybe going into marketing, but possibly you can even go into higher education with a communications studies degree. I'm trying to think. So me and Jamie are in the Margaret Boyd Scholars Program. Didn't know if you knew that.
That's how we know each other.
So our GA, our grad assistant Vanessa, she's actually in grad school for higher education, and basically she'll end up like working with students in like a administrative department at like a university and stuff like that, and basically helping managing students or like community engagement at the university, or like the involvement center, or just anything like that. A communication study degree is super important because you're managing people, you're managing students. So that's how I always think of a comms degree. However, it's pretty universal because it shows that you know how to speak right and you know how to work well with others, basically.
Right.
So like a lot of like employers do like that. It's the specialization that's the key if you want to get into like a specific career field. So we were talking about this. There are I think like 3 kind of tracks you can go on for a comms degree, and so you can like just basically use that as like your specialization.
So I know that the university that we attend, Ohio University, has 3 tracks in particular. What are those tracks?
One is public advocacy, organizational, and then the other one's health communications, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are those are those translated into the real world? Are there more specializations in the real world?
There are more specializations, and that comes with, so whenever you're a comm studies student, it honestly doesn't take, there aren't a lot of required classes for you. So a lot of it comes down to your electives that you choose to take. And then because of that, they have a related area, and that's kind of your specialization within the track that you're going on. So when I first became a communication studies major, I was public advocacy, and then my related area was like women's health. So I wanted to go into like lobbying and like working with nonprofits to help organize programs for education on like women's health and like advocacy, just things like that. So I would take like classes like, you know, intro to public health. I would take a WGSS class, you know, or like like a sociology class, or like African American studies class, or just, you know, anything like that that's related to the concept of women's health, or, you know, like an LGBTQ class or something like that. I know we have like queer theory and whatnot. Yeah. So
you can really tailor it to your specific interest.
Yeah, you can really tailor it like that. Trying to think. And also your extracurriculars really affect your specialization. And because it's not specifically about what's on your transcript per se that will affect if you get employed or not. It really is like the skills that you develop. So it's like comms is really, you get out of it what you put in, for sure. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's more sculpted by you than it is by anybody else.
By the university, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. That's really cool. Before we go into the coursework section, I just want to ask, a lot of people have very strong feelings about relocating for their job. So a lot of people do want to stay where they're from, and some people want to move the hell away. So as far as communication studies, if somebody gets this major, gets this degree, goes out into the workforce, do they have to relocate? Is it good to relocate? Does it not matter?
I would think it honestly depends on where you come from. So I'm from Ashland, Kentucky. It's not like a small, you know, like Ohio town where it's like 5,000 people. It's a pretty like decent mid-sized town.
5,000 people is kind of a lot.
Okay. Compared to like the 12 million that are in like,
yeah, that's fair.
New York City or something like that.
Anyway.
Yeah. So like there are no jobs for me to be to use like my communications degree down there, because it's just not. And especially because in my area, a lot of it's factory work. People in demand are like nurses and doctors and stuff like that, because I don't know if people know this, but a lot of the factories cause detrimental health effects. So you need a lot of doctors and nurses around the area. And so there's no way I could go down there with a comms degree and do what I want to do with it. However, if you're lucky enough to be from a bigger city like Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, I would for sure say that you could definitely get in with an internship, get in with networking and stuff like that, and then be able to get a job where you're doing possibly like PR, marketing, maybe like HR stuff. Like I said, it really depends on your specialization. It really depends on the skills you developed and what you can basically present to your employer and be like, this is what I am, this is what I can do. Because like I said, the comms degree is very general. So you have to put into place and like lay out what you've gotten out of it, what you can like, you know, do with it and stuff like that. So
So you mentioned networking. How important is networking?
Dude, for comms? Networking is so important. I'm telling you, like, it's really one of those things. You get out of it what you put in. You have like, you know, I will say a comms degree is super easy to get. I'm not gonna lie, like it's really easy. I was a psych major when I first came in, and that's kind of hard. And so when I transitioned over from double majoring in psychology and women gender studies to just being a comms major, I was kind of underwhelmed by the coursework and like the course load, like workload and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, however, if you just kind of like scoot by just to get your comms degree, you're not going to get anything out of it. Like, I'm just being so upfront. Like, I feel like you need to utilize that extra space and you need to utilize that extra free time to put in that front end work, like getting internships, networking, talking to your professors, like asking them about their research if you want to get into that. And just, different things. I remember like I went on the Teton Science School trip that I went on.
That was offered through our scholars program.
Yeah. It's offered through our scholars program. Apply to the Margaret Boyd Scholars Program. That is like the one. Yeah. If you were able to, it is a women's leadership scholars program. And if you qualify for that, you just have to basically identify as a woman to apply. That's it. And that is so big.
Yeah. If you plan on going to Ohio University and you're a woman, it's absolutely awesome. It's a little bit of a process,
dude. It's
there's an application with a couple of different short essays, and then they kind of pick through those to choose the first round of girls that they want to talk to. They do group interviews. Through the group interviews, they whittle it down to individual interviews, and then from there they choose a group of 20 girls. They like hand select 20 girls that are great. I don't know, like
absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely
wonderful
fantastic. People. And what's great about the program is like it is academics based to a certain extent, but it's more like who you are as a person. So like, what are you, a driven person? Are you a passionate person? What makes you passionate? What drives you? So if you plan on going to OU, you have to apply the fall semester of your freshman year and like no other time, because that's the only time that it's open,
because it's like a 4-year program. But there are other ones too, like there's like the fellows, which I'm pretty sure works the same way, except it's co-ed. And then the Ohio fellows, and then there's this new thing called the Ohio honors program. Really? And I actually just learned about this the other day because I've been doing some stuff with my comms degree, by the way, so maybe I can talk about that a little bit later on. Basically it just came out like last year. I think this past year was its first year. And it's similar to the HTC, the Honors Tutorial College. However, it's like, because it allows like all majors, all people, and it's basically like, based on like your leadership skills, your community engagement. Are you a good person? Are you a passionate person? Like, what's your work ethic like? And I think it lets in, I really want to say 80 people every year, but I'm not sure on that number.
Number of people.
On a number of people. Like, it lets in a number of people, more than like the fellows or HTC or Margaret Boyd. Like, it's just a little bit, not easier to get in, but there's a lot more room to let more people in. So it's like a little less competitive.
Right. And not just OU has all of these things. Every single college has these groups, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a scholars program. I mean, I would recommend, if you can get into a scholars program, absolutely go for it. And even if you don't think that you can do it, I didn't think that I could do it.
Oh my gosh, no.
Most of us thought that we couldn't do it, but then we ended up, we got into it. But yeah, absolutely, just joining groups in general.
Yeah, for sure.
What type of groups have you joined in particular that have been most beneficial for you?
I don't know if they've been the most beneficial, but they've definitely helped me decide who. Let me think. They've definitely helped me decide, or like narrow down like what I want to do, as opposed, what I don't want to do and stuff like that. But when I first came in, I really, really wanted to do advocacy work. I've been super into the activist community since I was like a junior in high school. It was like my passion. I wanted to like utilize my privileges and education and like being like a white woman who's like middle class and stuff like that to help other people. And then I got into it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so emotionally exhausting and like all these things. Anyways, but so I joined a feminist organization on the campus, which has really helped me develop like leadership skills, because I'm like the president of it now. It's called Intersectional Feminist Alliance. It used to be affiliated with Urge, which is a national nonprofit. We aren't affiliated with them anymore because we wanted to do more like local work instead of nationally based work, because Athens is a very specific kind of community. It's very much rooted in Appalachian culture, very rooted into the good and the bad of Appalachian culture, but it's still a university campus where, you know, you can't really get away with using any kind of like slurs as much as you would in like other maybe Appalachian communities and stuff like that. So it's very specific kind of place. And we didn't feel like what they were doing matched ours, so we kind of moved away, and I became the president. And so through that process of kind of like being on the exec board and becoming president and like making like decisions like that, like I kind of just mentioned, it's really helped me develop like leadership skills. It's helped me develop confidence in myself that like this is what I want to do, and I know it's like the right thing to do. And I don't know, it just helps you kind of like develop as a person, as a human being. I'm trying to think what other organizations I've been a part of.
Yeah. And one thing I want people to keep in mind is, you know, even if it's not a one-to-one comparison or it doesn't match your major exactly, no matter what, I mean, definitely try all different kinds of things, because there's a lot of things out in the world. Yeah, and it can like steer you in the right direction, it can steer you in the wrong direction. You can figure out that that's not the direction for you. Yeah. That's just as good. That's just as constructive.
Yeah, it really is. Like, going through that and realizing that I didn't want to do it anymore was really helpful for me, because like I seriously had like my mind dead set on that ever since I was like, you know, ending like my junior year of high school. And so and then being able to have the support that I did, and like through my professors, through like the CLDC, through like all these different, we have like a lot of amazing like just like base foundational resources at OU that like really help you kind of like give you some peace and like sanity about, you know, possibly changing your major, what career you're going to get into. That way you can you know, do your own research. It really is helpful in giving you that confidence to get your feet wet, try new things, you know, get into something that you think you may not be good for, but like you just do it anyways because you're like, what the heck, why not?
Right.
Which is super beneficial. Please, like,
just try everything.
Yeah, just try everything.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I cannot stress enough how important that is. Like, even if you're not really sure on what you're going to be doing, trust yourself and know that you are able to do these things. I feel like that's a really big part. I feel like that's also a really big part of the communication studies degree too, is being able to like trust yourself and know that like you've learned these skills and you're going to apply it to like maybe completely different situation, but you still are able to use those like foundational skills to get through it. So yeah.
So we were talking about networking earlier, and besides like joining different groups, do you have any other like strategies or tips for networking? Especially with professionals, I think is one thing.
Professionals, yeah.
Yeah, that a lot of people kind of neglect, because most people will, you know, network
talk about
with
like professors and like stuff like that. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I honestly haven't. I'm trying to think. I haven't really networked with a lot of professionals yet. But the most important thing is confidence. Like absolute, utter, not arrogance. There's a difference. Do not be arrogant. Don't be a know-it-all. Have confidence in your abilities and sell yourself. Like you are getting an education. You're getting a very valuable education. You are a valuable human being, and you've learned skills that not everybody else knows, that not everyone else has learned. So sell yourself, because you're valuable to somebody, to somebody, and like your skills are valuable. Don't sell yourself short. Really embellish on what you've done. Really, truly think about every single skill that you've learned, and like create your elevator speech. That's really,
the elevator speech was like one of the greatest things that I ever like thought about. And for anybody who doesn't know, it's like what, like 30 seconds, like 20-30 seconds, like little
like just like a rundown
of like, hi, my name's Jamie Clarkson, I'm a senior studying journalism, I'm a scholar, I'm a this, I'm a that, hire me.
Exactly. No,
In theory,
sure.
it's that,
No,
but you
for
don't
sure,
have
yeah.
to say hire me. But it's like the little, it's the elevator pitch.
It is, yeah. Like just like talking about stuff like, hi, I'm this, I study this. Mention something that you're a part of, like, our big thing is a scholars program. I always mention that.
Even when it doesn't matter. It absolutely matters.
Even when it doesn't matter, it absolutely matters. And then just talk about like what you're like super passionate about. I know like people, like older people, talk about how they're so inspired by like college students because we just have this like young passion, like not jaded by life anymore. Utilize that. Utilize what you're passionate about and be like, I just love this and I want to continue working around this subject, or like with you, or like an organization like you. Like this is something that I would absolutely love to do. Be passionate. People love that. They have networking events. I know the CLDC puts on networking events that are pretty like basic. Those are always, I haven't been to one of those. I've heard that they're nice to go to. Trying to think of what else. Internships.
Yeah.
Dude, internships, yeah. That is a really big thing, especially here in Athens. Places that you wouldn't think would have an internship, have an internship. I got an email from Scripps saying that like a Baptist church wanted comms. They have a comms internship, and I was like,
I got that email too.
I was like, was not expecting that.
Right. And like, even if, because I haven't gotten an internship out of it, but I've gotten applications out of just emailing people. Like, say I want to work here, or I want to intern here, and they'd be like, I didn't think about that. All right, send us your information,
Exactly.
And for a lot of people, it does work out. So yeah, just keeping your eye open as far as that goes. But yeah, internships do you have to have an internship to get your degree? Is it a requirement?
It's not a technical requirement. It should be a personal requirement.
Right.
You should get an internship if you are able to. Like, that should be as much of a priority as your classes, honestly. To me personally, anyways, because I feel like that's part of the front end work, and that like that work that you're putting into your comms degree, that that like specialization portion of it that shows you have skills, because with a comms degree, honestly, like, you learn how to communicate, you learn all these different skills in the academic world, and it's still, I mean, obviously you can utilize these skills in like the real life world, but it's just different. Like, you just learn it in a different way in the outside world, and that's honestly what employers are looking for. They're looking that you
had hands-on work.
You had hands-on work. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are different places, like, there's like a ton of nonprofits in Athens. Like, if you're wanting to stay in Athens over the summer and that's like a thing for you, there are a ton of nonprofits. There's there's the Mount Zion Baptist Church. I think that they have marketing. Yeah. They have marketing, internship, like PR, stuff like that. But any typically when it says PR, honestly, if you're a comms studies person, just apply anyways. It applies.
Yeah,
like,
it applies. It's close enough.
It's close enough, yeah, basically.
See, a lot of these fields are like, there's a lot of overlap.
There's so much overlap.
Yeah, and it's mostly about like preference, as far as like deciding which one that you want to do. So yeah, like PR and marketing and communication all kind of overlap. It truly just depends on like what your personal preference was. So how do I explain it? So basically, I used to be a PR major, which at this school it's called strategic communication, and that's more based in writing, and then marketing is more based in advertising and stuff like that. It's more of like a visual, it's more conceptual than writing, and then communications is
it's just like the
just
very
a little
broad.
touch of everything.
It's the very it's the thing that eats all the other specific majors. You get you just get everything with it,
right?
So yeah, like I said, like because of that, your education that you get from the comms degree is a good foundation, but you need to put in that work to specialize it. You need to pick those classes that are going to specialize it for you. You need to get those internships. You need to get that that work portion of it in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are different places. Yeah, like if you find an organization, I think that's really important. If you do find an organization that you really like what they're doing, you think that you can utilize your skills to like help them in some way, email them, reach out to them. Email them 3 times if you have to. Like, as you know, as long as you're like given enough space in between the emails, you're polite, you continue to sell yourself. Like, I have these skills, I'm this major, I've had this background, and I love what you're doing. Just do not be afraid to put yourself out there. That is the biggest part of college, is constantly just like selling yourself to people, putting yourself out there, and everything like that. So I think that's like the really important part of it. So internship, please get an internship. My goodness, please do that.
So an internship may not be required for every university. I know it's not for this one, but as far as coursework, what kind of classes do you have to take to get this major?
Public speaking, guys, first one. Dude,
So it seems like it's very important to be a good public speaker.
It's important it's important to pass the class, that's for sure. I still kind of struggle with public speaking, not as much as I used to, because
so it's not impossible to get over that hill.
No, it's not impossible, and also when I switched my major, I took the public speaking class in the summer at a branch university where I'm from. I took it at OU Southern. There was like 9 people in my class, and they were all like 50-year-old women getting like their social work degree, their nursing degree, or like whatever. It was super easy. Everyone was super friendly, and it was nice. But yeah, you just have to like, it's just one of those things you just have to do. You have to barrel through. There are a lot of things in college you just have to do. Whether you like it or not, you just have to do it. But no, it's definitely possible to get through, especially if you have a good professor. I don't know how long. I had a professor, his name is G, and I had him for argumentation analysis this past semester. And I know he teaches public speaking. I don't know how long he's going to be around for, though, because he's a grad student. He's like getting his he's getting his PhD. But yeah, talk to your advisors too, and be like, you know, like, what kind of professor do you think I should sign up for with? Like, I'm this kind of person, and I really need this kind of professor. And just ask them, and they'll like have a recommendation for you. I also recommend Paula Linscott is my advisor in the comms department. She is an absolute angel. So awesome, so knowledgeable, kind, and caring. Like, I feel like she would definitely help you out with that. And then, but if you can't get the professor you like, you just have to suck it up and do it. Like, for real, you just have to suck it up.
Yeah, and for me, I do it the wrong way, and I just don't look at the professor before I sign up for a class.
No, dude, look at the professor.
A lot of people are like, why? How could you do that? But in a way, it's been good, because like I have had to deal with just the weirdest people and just the worst people, and learned how to adapt. And you know, in a way, it's pretty good. You know, it's just up to you and your personal preference.
No, for real.
Personally, it's too much planning for me.
See, I overplan. So for me, it's like I go on to rate my professor.
Oh, God. The good professors have classes at like 9 a.m. and I have no business. I don't want to do that. I will. I think I have a 9 a.m. for every day next semester. So like I'll do it. Yeah. If I have to.
Yeah. See, it's that work ethic that really gets tested when you're in college.
And that sleep ethic too.
Like, do you love yourself enough to go to bed at 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. or whatever works for you?
Yeah. Yeah, coursework.
Yeah. So yeah, public speaking, but also like don't let it steer you away from doing comms. Like, cool. Right. I was talking to our friend Kennedy. Okay, if she's actually told a lot of people this. I don't think she'll care if I say this on a podcast, but she literally said that she chose strategic communications instead of a comm studies degree because of the public speaking class.
Oh,
Deadass.
Kennedy.
That's what she told me. Kennedy.
What are you doing? Oh my God.
I love her.
Oh my gosh.
So,
it couldn't be that bad. It's just one semester.
It's literally one semester.
Yeah.
It's like what, 15 weeks. You have
Right.
you have the class maybe like, I actually don't know what I took.
It depends.
It depends.
It depends.
It depends. I took it as a summer class, so it depends. But yeah, and it might be a bad situation for you, but you're gonna learn from it. Like public speaking is a really big skill in the comms department, or in like the comm studies kind of department, because not only do you need it for like your academic life, because you know, comms, the coursework, a lot of it's about not only about like writing papers, but it is about presentations. It's about working with groups, and it's about being able to convey what you're trying to say through different like mediums and stuff like that. And public speaking is one of them. It also just helps you like with, you know, your elevator pitch, helping build your confidence, helping build your confidence in your knowledge and the way you speak and the way you look, stuff like that. So even if it's kind of a bad experience and like you're scared of having a bad experience, you'll learn something from it.
Yeah.
You'll definitely learn something from it, and it will be beneficial to you. That's why they have it as a requirement.
Yeah, and if you're bad at public speaking, that's exactly the class to take. That's exactly the class to take. Yeah. So other than public speaking, what are some of the other standouts or more difficult classes?
I really honestly, I think it was my fall semester last year, my sophomore year.
Yeah.
I took Communication Among Cultures, which is super fun. I took it with, who did I take it with? A professor. I'll think of her name.
A professor.
She's super
really
awesome.
Tell me more.
Stop. I took it with a professor. I'll mention her name when I can remember it.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. We talked, like, seriously, it was like communication among cultures. We talked a lot about different perspectives, different types of communities. We learned about like ability. We talked about like racism and like different like like racial tensions and stuff like that. And then like the coursework was a lot of like writing papers and like I think like a couple presentations. I mean, like it is like a lot of reading. I know like in the if you're a comms major, you do end up doing a lot of reading. I know comms theory, I haven't taken that class yet, but I've heard it is a lot of reading. So just, you know, like keep in mind stuff like that when you are taking the class. It is beneficial to like look up the class, see how people, you know, like what kind of coursework it is, and just kind of like keep that in mind when you're going into like syllabus week or I don't know, just different things like that.
So do you think the cultural aspect of communication, is that like very important?
For me personally, I think it's super important just because just to honestly be like a good person. I'm not like a good person. I'm sorry,
right.
Not a good person. We do not want to tie morals to academia. However, you do
to be, I guess, yeah, I see what you mean though. No, yeah, but continue.
Like you do want to be as educated as possible. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
As educated and considerate.
And consider as possible, because you don't know who you're going to be around when you're out in the real world. So you want to be as educated on people as possible, because that's what communications is you're using one message and trying to convey it to another person, people, group, or whatever. And you don't know what kind of group that's going to be, or like you want to be as educated on that group's culture or like understanding background in order to convey that message. So honestly, you just need it to do your job better. Like that's really what it is. I apologize for my other statement. That was mean.
You can only be a good person if you have higher education.
That's not what I meant to say at all.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We get it. We get it.
But no, like seriously, like that communication among cultures class really did help me in some aspects. You know, there were a handful of stuff like I already knew. Obviously, because I've like been in the activism community for it feels like forever, for a lifetime. But there were also different things that I just like didn't really know a whole lot about. Like there was like one section where we talked about just like Islam and like Muslims in America, Muslims in like Islamic states, or you know, stuff like that. And that was honestly like really beneficial for me to understand like the Islamic community and stuff like that. And Yeah, I think it's just a really, really cool class. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. You just like learn about people. You read some cool articles. You write a bunch of papers.
Yeah.
Because like obviously like, I'm super into like different like cultures, different communities and stuff like that. So that was really interesting to me. Also, I'm like literally my favorite class I took last semester was argumentation analysis.
Yeah.
And that was with Yarongji, and he is literally the cutest. He's super smart. The guy is super smart. You basically just like, it's similar to public speaking where like you're building like arguments and stuff like that to present. And but you basically just learn how to structure an argument, you know, talking about logic, talking about different ways to convey your argument, talking about, I'm trying to think, like evidence and like the reliability of that evidence. Super cool class. And those are kind of like the ones that stand out to me that I've taken so far, because like a lot of the classes that I took my freshman year were psych classes because I was a psych major. So it was literally only like this past year that I've been taking comms classes.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the ones that stand out to me. I super like them.
Are there any other, like, I know some majors have them. I'm not sure if yours does, but like any like non-class requirements for graduation?
Like what?
Like, I guess for journalism, like we have the internships, which I guess we already talked about. Like you need to finish however many hours, but yeah. I guess not.
I don't think so. Okay, like I said, if you're just in it to get a comms degree, it's easy. Right. But if you're in it to get an actual education,
to get an education and a job,
yeah, and a good job, it's a lot harder. So yeah.
So what has been for you the hardest part of it so far?
Honestly, the hardest part is putting that front end work in, like trying to get internships, trying to network, because in the past I've always, like with psychology, all you have to do is just like show how smart you are and like you're in, like you're good for the most part. You know, internships aren't really that big of a requirement. Like the education you get is the education you get, like that's about it. So I've always been used to just kind of like being able to do good work just like based solely on my academic skills you can see on my transcript. But this time I have to you know, have confidence in myself to be like, go up to a person and be like, hey, I'm good at this and this, you want me. Like being able to sell yourself, being able to work with different people. Yeah, that's a big one. You do, especially if you take group comms. I took group comms last semester, and there were some groups, they just did not work well together, but we were in a group for a whole semester. Like, it's just stuff like that that's been, like, kind of hard. Because, you know, with psych, it's basically, like, you do your work, like, by yourself, you know, all these things. But, like, with communications, you have to be ready to just, like, do group work. You have to just be adaptable. I think that's like the biggest one, just like being constantly kind of like adaptable to communications, because it's like adaptability is like a key skill that you get through the communication studies degree.
So I'm trying to phrase this in a way that doesn't sound kind of weird. What type of person majors in comms?
All kinds of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, you get, see, I feel like people typically, at least, this isn't how I saw it, because I know that our College of Communications is, like, renowned and, you know, stuff like that, like, super cool.
Prestigious.
Super prestigious, or, like, whatever. I'm just kidding. So, I knew that there were, like, I knew that there were people going into communications because they genuinely wanted to do communications work and not just get like an easy degree to get out and do like HR stuff. So, but like, then I hear people talk about it and they're like, you know, oh, only like sorority girls who like are going to go into like management. You know, I feel like that there's like that stereotype there.
Yeah.
And that they're only doing communication because it's like, they can't really do anything else or like whatever.
Yeah.
And you do have those kinds of people in there. However, you have people who are like wanting to do, like me, like public advocacy. I want to do public advocacy. You have people in there for kind of like marketing. You have people in there who are like doing media communications, especially like with our comms classes. A lot of people can take those classes who are different majors. Like I had 3 education majors in my argumentation analysis class because it was required from their major. So our classes typically do apply to other different kinds of majors. So you'll see like all kinds of people in your classes. You have the people who, I had like a couple people on like the debate team in my argumentation analysis class. Wow, surprise!
I didn't know we had a debate team,
dude. And they're like pretty good. I mean, the people in my argumentation analysis class that were on the debate team freaking blew everyone out of the water. I felt so inferior to them.
That seems a little unfair, I think.
I know, it's so unfair. They should have just tested out of it.
Right.
No, but yeah.
No, they would take it for sport, just for fun.
No, they literally, yeah.
Like some people take yoga for fun. They're like, I'm going to take argumentation analysis. Which, okay, one thing that I notice about communication classes is the names of them are so like argumentation analysis.
I know, because it's the way you communicate.
It's the way you communicate. Exactly. It's taking what it is, framing it a certain way, and then putting it out there. Which
exactly.
I think literally just looking at the course offerings for communication classes, you get to see what communication actually is.
No,
you get to see it like, yeah, I don't know. I thought, I was like, am I the only one who thinks this is a little ridiculous? Oh my gosh.
No, you seriously, like, you get classes that it's like literally like interview. Like that's like literally one of the classes is
straightforward.
Intro to interviews or something like that. Like, they're super
neat.
Straightforward. Like you get what you're gonna do from the title of
right.
the class. Like comms theory. You're gonna be doing a shit ton of reading because it's theory. Like just things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get like pretty much all kinds of people in there, and it's because you are able to apply this degree, this education that you get to a lot of different things. Yeah, you'll find all kinds of people in comms. You'll find people who are wanting to go into higher education, and even you'll even find people who are like pretty shy or pretty
right.
this and that. I mean, like in my argumentation analysis class, we literally had a problem where we like would not stop talking to each other, and I was like, wow, can you tell we're comms majors? Like there is that stereotype because like I love talking to people,
right?
Or like my friend Mylan was in that class and he literally would not shut up the whole entire time. But that's just like Mylan's personality. Like so, obviously, like he's a comms major. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you do get those stereotypes, but you also get people that, I mean, there was a couple people in that class that were like weren't the best at public speaking. They're pretty shy and stuff like that. But that's like why you're in college,
right?
Is to develop your skills, is to get an education and to like grow as a person academically, professionally and stuff like that. So even if you're pretty bad at public speaking, but you want to be a good public speaker, just do it anyways. Like if that's what you want to do, but you're not good at it, that's what you're paying this institution for, is to teach you how to do these skills that you want to do. Like, what is it? Ooh, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here. There's a Dolly Parton quote. This is for not just your education, but for your life. For your life.
Yeah.
And she says, figure out what you want to do and then do it on purpose. Do it on purpose.
I like that.
I know, right? So that can apply to any aspect of your life, especially your education. Figure out what you want to do and then just do it. Do it on purpose. Go for it. Put your heart and not your heart and soul, because you might get disappointed, but like put like your efforts into it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's a really important part of comms, is figure out what you want to do and then just do it.
Yeah.
Like,
and I imagine even if you're not like a comms major, if you're majoring in anything else, but you still want to like develop your skills, you can still take comms classes.
You can still take comms classes. They're pretty open to like, like I said, like education majors were in my class. They're pretty like, because communication can like literally apply to everything. Like you need communication is the one of the main foundations of society, of humanity,
and a lot of like majors require at least like one comms class.
So like
depending on like what it is, you may need to take public speaking, or you may need to take cultural communication, things like that. It's not going to be like a theory class. It's not going to be a high level class.
No.
It'll be a low level class, but I mean, still in those classes, you still have to like, you're still developing your skills.
Yeah, for sure.
And one thing that I've noticed, last episode I talked to Max, and he was a games and animation major, and
which is so cool.
Whoever this
the
Max
coolest
guy
is has a super awesome major.
It was the coolest major. I learned so much last week. But yeah, we were talking about like how like valuable community colleges or commuter campuses are.
Yeah, they are.
And that like, you know, if our majors were even available there, that like we probably might have opted for that. And one thing, at least in my personal experience, like I mentioned before, I went to Ohio University Lancaster, which was a commuter campus community college down over where I went to high school. And they offered communication. I think as a degree, they at least offered a ton of communication classes. So this is one of those majors that, you know, you don't have to go to a big university for, which is pretty great. I think it's
awesome,
one of its strengths.
For sure. And like even I'm planning on studying abroad, and I'm looking at this university. It's like Mahidol University in Bangkok, Thailand, and like a lot of their classes are like communication classes, like marketing classes, stuff like that. So like even, oh my goodness, even in Bangkok, communication is like they still have classes available there. So like, you know, you can pretty much get like some kind of comms education like wherever you go, because it's like I said, it's the foundation of humanity in our society. It's so important, let me tell you. So important.
And also I just thought of this, but like we mentioned earlier, there's overlap between like PR, strategic communication, communication, marketing, all of those types of like majors. And if you want to go into that field, but you don't want to, you know, pay the big bucks to go to a huge university, but you want to go to a commuter campus, you can always opt for just communication and then go to that commuter campus and then spend more of your money and resources towards internships and things like that to shape that.
Exactly.
There's definitely ways around spending all this money.
There's definitely ways around it. I know that if I wanted to stay where I was, I probably would have went to community college, like honestly.
Right.
But I wanted to get out. I did.
It's a nice foot in the door of.
It is a nice foot in the door. So
that's the best way to explain it. Is, you know, it's a great first step, because you know, you can still go home for the summer if you want to.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it doesn't work out. So yeah. Before we get too off track.
I know the social currency of a university.
Oh God, that's not a talk I want to have today.
I know, me either.
But what was I going for? Oh yeah, so before somebody comes into the university majoring in communications, what are some skills or values that they should have personally?
There's a whole lot of people in the communication studies department, like students and stuff like that. So you don't really like need a whole lot, because they'll teach you these things like through, you know, communication among cultures and stuff like that. But what I recommend you have, and just honestly with any major that you go into, is having values of being open to an experience, being open to being put into a situation that you may not know the outcome of, and like not being afraid of like doing bad on a paper. Not like, the fear of failure will get you every single time. The fear of failure will hinder you in your development skills and the academic world. Like, you just have to be able to like try. These are like really big values. Trying to think what else. Values as a human being.
So like you mentioned earlier, like adaptability is one thing.
Oh, adaptability for sure. You should just be able to be adaptable in any kind of situation, especially when you go into the career place. Adaptability is a big one. I'm trying to think. Like being able to like have some kind of leadership skills, and not like leadership as if like you're about to like be the president of an organization. Like there are different like leadership skills, I feel like everyone should just have. Like it's not things like commanding a room, you know, that would be like that is like one like active like leadership skill, but like being able to like work in groups, being able to see yourself as an individual and know yourself as an individual, but also being able to be adaptable and to work in a group, and like being able to communicate within a group is a really big thing as well. So like using those values, like open-mindedness, open to situations, adaptability, like leadership, stuff like that, in order to work in groups, like just like, you know, things like that, like those values like really do come in handy, and you'll also just develop them as like a person, like as you get older, as you have more experiences, like but yeah, you should also just be like open to like it's like the lifelong learner, like the growth mindset,
right?
Being a lifelong learner, I feel like, is just an important aspect of life anyways, especially with the comms degree, because you really learn from all kinds of situations, and so being able to take the failures and take the good, and growing from that is super duper important, and something that you're not going to be able to be taught in the classroom. So I think a growth mindset is also really important to everybody, but especially like communication studies majors. So
all right, well, let's say that the listener is sold on the communication studies degree. They know that they want to get it. What advice would you give them for applying?
For applying, you can just get in, can't you?
I mean, I guess.
I got in.
What was like the application process? Did you have to like submit anything special?
Yeah, I just like wrote about why I wanted to be a communication studies major, what I thought I could get out of it, what I wanted to get out of it. It was just like a little like 500-word essay, like not that big of a deal at all. One thing you will also learn as a communication studies major is learning how to be concise. Be concise on what you're saying in these things. So yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, if you're able to write, and you can write like a good essay, you're able to get in.
Right.
You know, even if you're not the best communicator verbally, you know, visually, like you'll be taught these things in there. You just have to be willing to try, and you have to have that work ethic. Value work ethic. You got to have work. You have to want to put in work into your communication studies degree, as aforementioned in this thing that I've been talking about. So
yeah, so the big thing that I'm taking away is like, it's there, but you have to do the work.
You have to do the work.
It's for people who are willing and able to like take things upon themselves.
Yeah, for real.
To go out and do the work. You can't have somebody stand there and tell you,
exactly,
hey, you have to get an internship now. Hey, you have to join a club now. Hey, you have to talk to people now.
You have to talk to people
you know,
now.
you have to be a very motivated kind of person is what I'm getting.
Yeah, if you want to get the most out of your degree, you have to be motivated, and you have to have a drive, and you don't have to like know exactly what you want to do, because I obviously still don't really know what I want to do, and I'm like going to be a junior in college, but you have to have the drive to like go through the process of figuring out what you want to do. That's just, that's a big aspect of it. And because you do have really good support, like you have your advisors, you have the CLDC, you have like your professors and stuff like that, that give you that support and that foundation, but you have to be the person who takes it over the edge. Like you have to be that driving force. So
well, that was a beautiful sentiment.
Oh, thanks.
Do you have any other advice that you would like to give to any incoming comms majors? Any hopefuls?
I think it's just a really cool department. I super enjoy it. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with it. There are so many things. Please get an internship. Please do outside work. There are different organizations, like what is it, like the PR and PRSSI. So this is or
like,
there's like something like that, or like NCSS or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one is, but PRSSI, I'm technically a dues paying member right now, even though I don't really go to their meetings anymore because I'm not a PR major anymore, but I could still benefit from it.
Yeah,
but whatever. But Yeah, PRSSI, for anybody who doesn't know, is the Public Relations Student Society of America. And most college campuses have a PRSSA like affiliate at their campus. So it's like a student run organization that is like a part of a which is like a part of a larger, more professional organization. But yeah, if you're a PR major, comms major, or anything like that, I would recommend.
And and even if you don't want to get into an organization like that, try to find, and you're gonna want to do this anyways, because you're gonna want some kind of outlet to decompress after a long, hard day of talking to people you don't like. Yeah. So you're gonna want to find like an organization or like some kind of group where maybe you can take some leadership, like be on the exec board, and stuff like that. So you don't have to specifically do the comms thing, but I recommend because of networking.
Yeah.
But find an organization you really like and just like work your way in through it and like, develop skills that way. Cause like that's how I did it. I found something that I was super passionate about, like Intersectional Feminist Alliance. And I was on the exec board. And then I became the president. So yeah. And I'm very happy about that cause I learned a lot. So yeah, that's what I recommend.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being on. It's been a real treat.
A little good snacky treat.
All right. So thank you guys for listening to Let's Find Your Major. One more time, you can email us at letsfindyourmajor@gmail.com. And then you can tweet at us at findyourmajor. I will have those things down in the description. Also, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Danny Clarkson, DANNI Clarkson. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Not Really Danny. Same spelling. It always makes everybody laugh.
It's funny.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.